Welcome to Our Voice. I'm Rebecca Evans.
And I'm Mac Test. Today we're going to begin our program with inspiration and history, speaking with the award-winning filmmakers Ken and Betty Rodgers.
That's right, and we are also doing a Walk a Mile series. What would it be like if you stepped into the life of someone with a terminal illness? And we had a chance to interview the Creger family. And we also have Corey Turner from the Shriners on the set. I got to drive one of those little cars, so we'll
hope you didn't have an accident.
Well, I'm here, so.
I guess you didn't, but how's the car looking?
I know, well, they came to the set, so we got invited back.
Great.
It's a good sign.
Stay tuned, and there'll be a lot more coming.
Stories inspire, stories encourage, and stories matter. And that's really what our show, Our Voice, has been all about, sharing stories that really are significant. But stories offer something else, and that is an opportunity to historically document stories that really need to be told. And I'm so excited to take a moment and interview two filmmakers here in Idaho. They're documentary filmmakers, Ken and Betty Rodgers. And you two, basically, you were going along in your careers and your own inspiration, and you stopped in 2010 and decided to switch gears and capture a story. And it's a journey, it's called Bravo, Common Men, Uncommon Valor. And it's about the 77-day siege that happened in Vietnam. And you were part of that company, Ken, my understanding. Right. But what inspired you to just to begin? I mean, how did you go, hey, we really should tell this story?
Well, I have to go back in time to my mother, who throughout my childhood would preserve stories of family, particularly veterans. She would either record it on tape or she would take shorthand and write down their stories to make sure they were told. So that was my background growing up. And then in 2010, we were at a reunion of Khe Sanh veterans. This siege happened at Khe Sanh in 1968. And the men, Ken's fellow Marines and others, were sitting around talking about their stories. And this was 40 some odd years later, and after the event happened. And so they're sharing these stories, and you realize that when they get up and go home, they don't talk about it anymore. Right. And two of the men had terminal cancer, and we thought, wow, we need to save this history. We need to do something to tell the story, make sure that it's there for posterity.
Yeah, it becomes a time capsule.
Yes.
And you know, the one thing, after talking to both of you, having a vet share their story, it's not an easy task. You know, there's an automatic camaraderie because you're part of this company, you're part of this group, so them opening up to you in this documentary, that was a gift too, which makes the story so much richer because you don't get that insight necessarily, especially Vietnam. And why do you think now it's really critical to share a story such as this?
Well, the way our film turned out, it's really a timeless story. It's about the human cost of war, not just the monetary cost, but the human cost and what it does to people.
Right. It's just such an inspiring story, and we haven't really seen a lot of Vietnam stories out there. I mean, I think this is really what's great. You guys have won some awards for this as well, so it's been pretty well received. So I'm sure going from like normal, whatever normal is, into filmmaking, there were some lessons. A lesson you want to share that you've learned along the way?
A couple of lessons that we've learned along the way that might be worth sharing is one of them, you surround yourself with really competent, talented people, because filmmaking's a collaborative art.
Yes.
And the other thing is you got to have a good story. I mean, you can know how to edit, you can know how to film, but if you don't have a story that's compelling and speaks to the human condition.
Now you're in the process of another story,
Yes.
right? So tell me a little bit about this, because this is really fascinating. It's a whole different angle, but it's military related.
Well, during the journey with Bravo, one of the things that we've learned is that there's another segment in the population that has yet to have a voice, and that is the wives of combat veterans. One of the men in the film, Ken Corco, said to me one time, you know, Betty, you are a Vietnam veteran too, because you've had to live with the after effects of the Vietnam War in your own family. And
true.
so that was like the seed
Yeah.
that started the idea. And so this film, our working title is I Married the War.
And I think, you know, a lot of spouses, military spouses, they go, yeah, they embrace and support being married to a warrior.
Yes.
But when you get down to it, you don't know what to expect. I'm so proud of both of you and so inspired by your work to capture these stories that would be lost forever. So thank you so much for your work and your inspiration. And if you haven't had a chance, you've got to check out Bravo, Common Men, Uncommon Valor, and I'm looking forward to I Married the War. Thank you. Coming up next, we are going to do our Walk a Mile series, so stay with us. We're going to talk about what it feels like to have a terminal illness. Our Voice has offered several Walk a Mile segments, which is really an opportunity for you, the viewer, to get involved and to really see what it feels like to walk a mile in someone else's journey. Today I have with me my dear friend Kat Heatherly. Thanks so much for being here, Kat.
Sure.
And Kat has really had her share of medical challenges, medical illnesses, but she really wanted to share a story at a different level with someone else who has been suffering. So Kat, just tell us a little bit about the Cregers and what you know.
Well, I personally know having chronic illness is not only hard on the patient, but it's really hard on the family. And we have some friends who the husband has leukemia, and I can't imagine looking at their family and knowing not just a physical toll on him and an emotional toll on him, but a huge emotional toll on his family. The thought of them losing him, knowing they could lose him at any time, is just heartbreaking. And the thought of that family having to go on without him, it's such a wonderful family, is just something I can't even stand.
You know, and so we had this opportunity. We went to the Creger's home and we had an opportunity to really chat with Michael and his wife Gina and just talk about what is this like? What was it like to be diagnosed with a terminal illness? How is their family handling it? Let's take a look. And Mike, we're talking about your journey with leukemia when you were diagnosed in 2007. So here we are years later, but I want to kind of reflect a little bit. When you were first diagnosed, what was your first reaction?
Why me?
Why you?
Yeah, pretty much why me.
We all wish it didn't happen to us. We all wish it didn't happen to the one you love, or someone you know. But just, we have to deal with it.
Because when you first hear about it, and when I was younger, leukemia, pretty much kind of meant like a death sentence, pretty much.
We were scared, very scared. What are we gonna do without him? How long do we have? Through his back surgeries and all the issues he's already had medically prior to this too, why Dad? We can't, what are we gonna do?
But I was lucky enough to come with CML, not AML. So it's I guess if you wanted a better one to get. I didn't really pay too much worries to it. I figured it was in God's hands and the doctors.
What were some of your fears initially when you first hear this? I mean, I can't even imagine.
Well, I think the main fear was how my family's going to get along, how my wife's going to get along without me and the kids. That was the worst fear, really, because I figured this is another phase of life we're going to be tested with. Well, in 2014, got the best news. I'm just above going in remission. They finally labeled me at that, and until February of this year, that's when they called me back in, did another blood test, and basically my blood count went down again, and out of remission, and they increased my chemo meds.
I think it's the worry that if it's not working. We've been at this level so far and so much lucky and blessed. We've been blessed, and now the increase of the chemo, is it going to work? And was your body just acclimated for the first 7 years or 6 years he was on it? Are we going to be okay? So long as we're okay, we can keep living.
But hopefully it works for me. They're going to monitor it every month. I can go in for a blood test, and a week after that blood test, I'll find out the results, whether it's working for me or they got to increase in the medicine.
You can't deal with the negative. You can't deal with, we can't do this anymore, but you can. So long as God gives us another day, we got it. We got it handled. The more that He deals toward us and to us, we can handle. And that's what it's about. And value. Everything matters to us now.
Do you feel like this journey has brought your family closer?
I believe it has. Family time has really gotten more special to me now. And without them, I'd be lost.
We truly valued together. So I can say now, my kids are grown, but we are closer than ever. And with Dad around, he's doing more with us.
Yeah, I think family plays a very important part in life. And when you're going through good things or bad things, especially the bad, they're great to have a family that you can rely on.
So tell me, if somebody else was going through a similar journey, what advice would you share with them?
Don't dread on it. Live life the best that you can.
It's powerful.
Yeah, because I really do believe the more you worry about it, the worse things can be. You're more relaxed, and I put my faith in the doctor and God's hands. So that's the kind of attitude I've always had. Whatever happens. It's meant to be.
That this is a blessing. I can't ask to be closer to the kids, to my family. I mean, to the animals, to our pets. We're together. I mean, it would be terrible if we weren't. But I don't have to worry about that yet. Not at all. I don't want to.
So while we were visiting the Creger's home, we also had this great opportunity to talk to their two children, Montana and Michael Jr., who really have been so involved with their father's care. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
I just graduated high school, and I remember the day that he told me. I guess it didn't register, it didn't hit home, didn't anything. I got in my car and I just drove away.
You can't help but thinking with cancer, any kind of cancer, any serious illness like that, the ultimate end is, you're gonna lose your loved one. But we try to get away from that, and just kind of fear of losing some of the fun times that you can have. So it's definitely, the loss was the biggest fear, I'd say, for me.
I agree with my brother on that. It's like now my dad is my very best friend. I mean, my mom kind of doesn't hate the fact, but it's kind of a little, why do you talk to him about everything? Like, my dad is my go-to, and being then too, it's all about losing my dad. And especially now, like, that's the one thing that comes into my mind, well, maybe my dad won't be here tomorrow, or he's my best friend.
Well, I think we're kind of fortunate in that sense, because there's plenty of families who didn't have that extra few years in there. There's kids who have been diagnosed at real young ages, and they, in my opinion, are some of the most strong-willed people that you'll ever meet, because if you met a little kid who had cancer and they stay positive, it's just the most powerful feeling that you can have. I've never felt anything like it. So, I mean, we were fortunate we got to have a few extra years to a little more experience behind us. We have a good family that was, supportive, good friends, and so, I mean, yeah, you can see both sides of it.
The biggest thing when we were growing up, no worries. He had a sticker and a shirt, no worries.
Everything was not
no worries. Right? And so now it's like, okay, no worries. And I find myself saying that a lot to, like, even my friends, or no worries. And I go, dang, I sound just like my dad now.
I think we we came together more as a family, and I think I kind of fill a role pulling everybody in, like, hey, let's go do this weekend.
I'm a lot more patient now, and I try to be more understanding, and you know, if I get mad and stuff, I try not to hold those grudges for too long, and I try to get over it quicker.
Definitely stay positive. You gotta have a good outlook on things, and you know, in order to do that, we found you do something that you love to do. And for us, it's obvious, it's outdoors, you know, it's hunting, it's fishing, it's camping. So you just gotta find the thing that works for you.
Don't take it for granted. Like every day that you're gonna have with like your dad, your mom, your brother is special. And you don't wanna lose that and just kind of think, oh, well, I should have done this. Like you don't wanna have those regrets. You don't wanna take it for granted. You want to be there completely, however much you can be.
So we know there are some solutions when it comes to how to deal with leukemia. Here with us today is John Philpott. He is the community engagement representative from Be the Match. And John, we're so excited to have you on board. So first of all, how did you get involved in Be the Match? I know you have a significant story to share.
Well, in October of 2012, I was diagnosed with a rare and very aggressive form of leukemia. And my doctors put it very simply, that I had two choices. I could either go through a bone marrow transplant or I could die. And I was not ready to check out without a fight with 5 young children. So, but unfortunately, my siblings were not fully matched donors for me. And so that's when Be the Match stepped in and gratefully was able to find a matched, unrelated donor who ended up saving my life. And now I'm cancer-free.
Wow. Okay, so you became part of this organization because you're a survivor.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I started as a volunteer. I wanted to spread the word about how important it is for people to get on the registry and just how simple it is. And that ultimately, gratefully, led to an opportunity to come to work for Be the Match.
Okay, one of the things I really love about Be the Match is they make this so simple. So I want you to talk about how easy it is to get registered.
Absolutely. Seriously, it's just a few minutes to fill out a little bit of paperwork and then 4 quick swabs of the inside of your cheek.
Like a Q-tip swab.
Exactly.
So no needles, right?
No,
Nothing like that.
no,
Okay,
no
so those
blood
of you
sample
who
or anything like that.
Awesome. Well, I have an idea that I want to try, okay? Because we have this double-decker bus that's been involved with our show called Whimsy. And Whimsy does these whimsical moments going out in the community. They've delivered food and toys to kids, like Toys for Tots. They've done all kinds of great services. I wonder if we could get Whimsy involved with helping us create like a drive with Be the Match. What do you think? Okay, so
That'd be great.
I have a bat phone here. I'm going to give Whimsy a call. I've only used this a couple times. It's only a need.
Hi, Rebecca. It's Randy. What's going on?
Randy, we have a special mission for Whimsy.
Oh, wow. Tell me about it. We'd be happy to help.
Right. Well, we're working with an organization called Be the Match, which will help with creating some bone marrow donations here in Idaho, registering people for bone marrow. So we wondered if Whimsy would be willing to go to some different locations around the Treasure Valley just to be a site for people to easily go and register.
Oh, of course we're in. Tell me what we need to do. What are the details?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll post it on your Facebook page, our Facebook page, on bethematch.org. They can work with us, and at eaglephysicaltherapy.com. We'll post on all those sites and let people know where to go.
Oh, of course. We'll see you there.
Okay, Randy's on board.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
And what we'll do is we'll post that on different websites on bethematch.org. We'll put it on Facebook, put it out there in social media so everyone knows what day, where to go, what location. We'll make it easy, but you guys also have a mail-in service as well. How does that work?
Right. Well, instead of filling out a little bit of paperwork on site, if somebody can't make it to one of these live events that we organize, they can go to our website at a special link that we've set up for viewers of Our Voice. It's join.bethematch.org/ourvoice. No spaces. And awesome. It's just 5 to 7 minutes online, followed by Be the Match mailing them a cheek swab kit that they complete at home, They drop it back in the mail to us. They don't even have to come up with a stamp. We take care of the postage.
Wow, awesome. Well, I want to see if we can get Walmart on board too. So let's see what we can do about that. Stay with us. So we've invited Randy Phone. He is the co-manager for Walmart, and he's here with us today. Thank you so much, Randy, to talk about how Walmart can get involved, because Walmart really does a lot for the community. And I wanted, first of all, just to talk to you, Randy, tell us some ways. I mean, Walmart really seems to get involved. Tell us a little bit about that.
One of the first things that Walmart does when we settle into a new community is we ask ourselves, how can we become a better neighbor? How can we become a good neighbor to the people in our community?
That's great. Wow. And you definitely see that, because I've seen Walmart really involved in races, different fundraising events. So with this event, this is Be the Match, and what we're looking to do is help people register to possibly become donors for bone marrow transplants. So when it comes to helping be part of the solution for leukemia. So we have this bus. It's a double-decker bus. We want to set it out at some locations. So could Walmart help us out?
Yeah, we'd love to help out with the Whimsy event and anything else that you potentially need to help make this a successful event. We'd love to be a part of.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that would be great. So Walmart will probably be one of our locations. Maybe we'll be parking Whimsy. We'll let you know dates, times, and the locations, and you can come out, easily register, and be part of this journey. I mean, this is really a movement. You can watch, witness. It is about walking a mile in somebody else's shoes. What would it be like if you or someone in your family was diagnosed with a terminal illness? But you can also come out, get involved, and be part of the solution as well. So thanks so much, Kat and John.
Thanks for having me.
John from Be the Match, and also the Cregers for bravely coming on board and sharing their story with us. And
I'm
thank
really
you, Randy.
excited about this.
Yeah, thank you. Stay with us.
Well, hi, welcome to Our Voice again. Many of us have heard of the Shriners, mostly related to a parade, the circus, wearing a fez hat. Even here in Boise, locally, we have a Shriner Temple, which many of you probably drive by. And we have here today with us Corey Turner, who is the Potentate of Boise's chapter of the Shriners. Welcome, Corey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming here. So for our viewers, it'd be really great if you could tell us a little bit of the history of the Shriners. How did it originate? Where did it come from?
That's an interesting story. There were 13 men that sat around that were Freemasons, and a couple of them were doctors. One was a prominent actor in New York and traveled the Mideast. And was invited to a party, Arabic theme, and basically brought back this style that he wanted to bring back as a club offshoot of the Masons, and they name it the Shriners. Started off there in New York City at the Knickerbocker Club, which basically they was a dinner party, and they would sit around and talk and have fun. And if you've been to a city council meeting or something like that, that's more along the lines of what a Masonic meeting is more like, but kind of a boring and dull. But by the 1878, I believe, was the first chapter in New York, and called the Mecca chapter temple, and it prospered from there. And by the time I think Idaho temple is Boise's temple is number 78 on their order.
Wow!
So we were started and chartered in 1898.
It originated with a party, right? And you guys do parades and the circus. So there's a sort of element to the Shriners that's about having a good time, right? But also doing well for the community, as I understand. Could you tell us a little bit of what the Shriners do for the community?
Well, our philanthropy, we started in 1920, trying to prosper to get some hospitals. In about 21, I think, in Portland, Oregon, one of the potentates, imperial potentates, started the fund. He had some property in Texas and wanted to start a hospital there to eradicate polio, and that was a big epidemic then in the 20s. We started our philanthropic way, I guess you could say, is eradicating polio, and then we moved on to crippled children. From that time, and we changed with the times, and now we deal with scolio, cleft lip and palate.
Amazing. Certainly part that I never knew about the Shriners. Again, I would concentrate more on the parades. And Well, the fez hat, of course, need to ask about that. You know, I can see some Egyptian symbols there, and it has kind of the half moon.
The crescent. Yeah.
The crescent. Where does it come from? Where's the fez hat?
Well, it comes from Morocco, which
Okay.
is Fez, and little city there, and that's where they make them. And ancient times, they dyed it and made these fezzes red, and prominent figures wore these fezzes. And so that's what Fleming and those guys that started the shrine wanted to make it more of a prominent order. When you joined, you were pretty much a figure. You know, they wanted something that stood out.
Could you tell me a little about the temple here in town? We all drive by it. What kind of events do you have there? How long has it been there?
Sure. It was built in the late 1800s, and it was a stable at one time and burned down. And we bought it in December of that year. The city was going to tear it down, but we decided we could use it. We were meeting in a little house over off of Franklin Street by Boise High School, and we were outgrowing our building down there. And kind of interesting at the time, we used to have our initiations, which were big ceremonies, and in the rotunda, the state
capitol.
Yeah,
Wow.
we used to have, hundreds of Shriners would be in there getting their degrees, and it was quite a deal. So we decided we'd get our own building at the time. And then in November of 1914, we had our first meeting in there. So.
Wow. So briefly, you had this circus recently, and
Yes.
I know Rebecca got to drive in one of the cars, these small cars,
In the parade.
in the parade, and rode an elephant, I believe, a camel.
Yep.
How was that? Did that
exciting.
That was exciting. I
It
know
was exciting
it was
for her.
I
Yeah.
know it was. Well, that's great. So how could people get in contact with you? If the community wants to get more involved with the Shriners, they just stop by, or
Yeah, they can stop in anytime they want and look around. There's many things in our building that are pretty neat and fascinating history of downtown Boise.
Well, great. I look forward to visiting the temple and enjoying some music, enjoying some company, hearing about all your philanthropic pursuits and hospitals, and it sounds like really an amazing group of people. So thank you, Corey,
Thank
for
you.
joining us here on Our Voice.
Thank you.
One of the things I love about doing this show is that we really have the opportunity to make a difference, like the Be the Match campaign that we're about to launch. So I love it.
Yeah, amazing, the incredible people, incredible things that we get from the community coming here on the show.
And speaking of incredible things from the community, the
A
Fez.
fez hat.
I
I've
know.
always wanted to be a potentate.
But I want to be the potentate. I think.
No, the hair. The hair. The hair.
Oh yeah, make it about the hair. Okay, this time you can. you
Yeah,
can be
I
that.
think I'm better fitting here to be the potentate for today.
Hey, it looks good on you. Yeah, you could pass.
Is
okay.
it convincing?
Yeah, it's convincing for right now. Okay, well, we want your stories because your voice, it does really matter. We want to hear from you.
Yes, go to Our Voice on YouTube as well as Our Voice Idaho on Facebook.
That's right, because your voice matters.
It sure does on Our Voice.